everyone, and welcome back to Real Talk About Feminism podcast. We are coming to you guys a little bit late this week because I had a guest interview, and it was just me and our guest Amy on, and then my whole portion of the interview didn't save, so we are having to work around the technical difficulties, but we still wanted to bring you this episode because Amy is a boudoir photographer, and we just had the greatest conversation about kind of like the body positivity movement and her journey as a boudoir photographer. And she shared some stories and just her life experiences. And so we had a really great conversation. So I'm excited to bring it to you guys.
I'm excited I get to experience it kind of as a listener.
Yeah.
I was not able to be there, but I remember you saying that it went super well. And unfortunately, we did have technical difficulties, but we are finding a workaround and we still get to hear from Amy directly.
Yes. So stay patient. Thank you guys all for your patience always with our technical difficulties. So, with that, I first had Amy kind of give herself a little intro and um, how she got into boudoir photography. So let's listen.
I have been a photographer for over 20 years. I used to work for a newspaper. I went to school. I did broadcasting and journalism. I don't like sad things. So I started just doing photography. I did families and weddings. And then one day, one of my regular family portrait clients was like, "Hey, can you take some boudoir photos of me and my husband?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to do that." And I did not know what boudoir photos were. I had no idea. So I went home and I Googled and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know." But I had committed and I really liked that lady. And so I went and I did them. And truthfully, it was super awkward. We were in like this Greek inspired room at this like theme hotel. And yeah, it was an experience. And then when I gave her the photos, like when I showed them, she was so in love, and she felt so good about herself and how she looked in the photos. And I was like, I really like this. So the next day, I had an office job as well at the time, and I convinced a coworker that we should go shopping, buy some lingerie, and she could let me practice on her. And then it was the same experience. Like, she loved how she looked in the photos. And the thing that she said then that kind of resonates now is that I didn't realize that I looked like this. And to me, like, those words are powerful because we all go through life and we're like, "Oh, we're okay," or we all just say negative things to ourselves. But when you can actually physically look at something tangible and be like, "I didn't realize that I looked this good," I feel like I have a gift that I'm able to give people just by doing that.
It sounds like she's really passionate about being able to make women feel confident. And she said at the end, like, I feel like I have a gift that I can share with people. I also love that she was like, yeah, let's just try. Who
Mm-hmm.
knows?
Yeah. And like she really put herself out there with her first photo shoot. Like, obviously, that was new for her. That could have been new for the clients, but she did it. And now she does it all the time. And she is super passionate about it. That was very evident throughout the whole conversation that she is just so passionate about what she does because she's able to show women like really how beautiful they are just naturally. So, yeah, we'll get into more about like the natural element of it a little bit later, but yeah, I she was just so passionate, which I loved. Something else that she talked about um was her personal experience and specifically her personal experience with body positivity and that whole like feeling and movement. And she shared her story a little bit in this next clip.
My life experience is just to do with being an above average size woman, like a plus size person. I'm curvy, or I'm whatever way that, whatever way the fashion industry decides to describe me this week. But I think that people who are in smaller bodies, one of my very, very best friends, she weighs less than 100 pounds, and she really struggles with being able to gain weight. And when people make comments about how small she is, or, tell her to go eat a hamburger, or, make a big deal about how little she is, that's damaging to her in the same way that the bully in high school who made a mooing sound at me while I was giving a speech, on stage in a student council, you know, uh, assembly. Those two things are the same thing. So just, I think as a society, we need to get around, we all just need to embrace ourselves the way we are, and actually like feed ourselves and exercise. And, if we need supplements, take the supplements. If you need to eat better, eat better. If you don't exercise, do what makes you happy. But live your life and don't be worried about your size, but also don't be worried about anybody else's. It's nothing to do with you.
I really appreciate her vulnerability, and I like what she said multiple times during that clip, but the theme of just not commenting or paying attention to other people's bodies, because that is a different person. That has nothing to do with you. And it just is making me think about the whole war on women's bodies that we are seeing in America. I think that's very in line with it. I was also thinking, I know in the beginning you had introduced her as someone aligned with the body positivity movement, but also in those clips, I feel like she takes more of a body neutrality stance in a lot of cases.
Yeah,
And
for
I
sure.
yeah, I yeah, I really liked how she brought up the fact that just take care of yourself, and like you know what's best for you. Like, we know that we need to be eating well. We know we need to be exercising and not being sedentary. Like, we know these things. Those are basic health guidelines. But I
Mhm.
like that she said, just take care of yourself and do what makes you happy, which to me is like finding exercise that makes you happy, finding ways to incorporate movement, finding ways to eat what you like still, but also making an effort to eat healthy. And we did an episode on that quite a while back, but I like how
Yeah.
she tied that concept together of like being confident in yourself, but also just accepting your body. Because, like she said, with her and with her friend, they have very different body types, but
Yep.
she has accepted, like, this is me.
Yeah, exactly. And it's um crazy because I actually like a few hours ago saw a TikTok of this girl who has some sort of chronic illness, and she made like a TikTok with like a funny sound, but basically like someone telling her like go eat a hamburger, like you're so skinny, go eat a hamburger, literally that exact thing. And then she was like, yeah, I actually have this. And then they're like, oh,
Mhm.
like shouldn't have said that. And I was like, okay, like that's so related to the episode tonight because that's literally what Amy talked about. And it is so true. Like, regardless, you worry about your body, don't worry about anyone else's, especially with, election season right now. That applies not just to um like weight or size, but also applies to different politics and laws. But anyways, yeah, I just thought that was something so good to bring up because I think it's that sometimes it's easy to like forget that everyone, like, you never know what's going on with someone. And so
Mhm.
it doesn't matter. Like, you do you, you take care of you, and then move on.
Yeah. She also said, I don't remember quite what she said, but she said, like, whatever the fashion industry decides my body type is that day,
Mhm.
which is so true. And we've talked about that a lot, just with like social media, beauty standards, and society in general. But I do love this topic of loving yourself amidst like hard times with body image and self-esteem and appreciating your body. And I really do like the body neutrality aspect of like you're not always going to love your body all the time. But if
Mhm.
you're taking care of yourself and you're doing what's best for you, then I think that's something to focus on for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I had a moment last week. I went and thrifted some new jeans because I just like I was feeling so uncomfortable in my body, and it was literally because like I hadn't gotten a new pair of jeans in like multiple years, and I was like still trying to fit in to a really small size. And technically, like, the pants that fit me comfortably are 4 sizes bigger, but I have never like I to like the beauty industry, fashion industry, like it's a large size, but I have never felt like better about myself. Like I got 2 pairs and I've been wearing them like all week, and I'm just like, "Ooh, like I feel so good." And it kind of like goes into that, like the whole body neutrality, and not even that, because like I'm an average size. To the fashion industry, like it's a large size, but I've never felt better. And I did have like when I saw the size at first, I was like, okay, that's double what I was wearing. But then I literally was like, that was my like I have I fully have had my second puberty now. Like I am a woman now, and those are pants that I was wearing when I was not, like I didn't have curves, and like I that's not my size anymore. And so I like had a little moment. I was like, wait. And then I was like, no, like I literally feel so good. I look so good. Like, and so, anyways, just it kind of made me think of the whole interview with Amy. And I actually um I did that the weekend after the interview. So I was like, just it was on my mind the whole week,
Mhm.
like my conversation with her. And I was like, I just want to go feel comfortable, and I'm going to go and shop, and I'm going to get clothes that actually fit me, and now I'm happy.
Yeah. I feel like coming into yourself as a woman, part of that is getting clothes that actually fit you because our
Yes.
bodies do change, especially as women. And you actually feel better with clothes that fit you instead of trying to squeeze into sizes that are too small because that's what you think you're supposed to do. So I
Uh-huh.
do love that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's nice to not have like my pants pinching everywhere. Like I'm
Yeah.
sitting down so comfortably right now, and
Yeah.
before I was like, these are standing only pants. But anyways, so yeah. Um let's go on to our next clip with Amy.
I don't understand why people feel like it's okay to comment on and judge other people's bodies, and why that's a topic, and why I need to be worried about what somebody else thinks of me and my body. So for a long time, the message that I've shared, my feelings have always been, you just need to love yourself. So I was the chubby kid at 9, and then I was the chubby teenager. And you know what's amazing? I realized as an adult. As a teenager, I thought I was the fat kid, but I was one pant size bigger than my friends. One.
So that is like really what made me think of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
now we're getting her story after mine. But
That's
yeah,
so
like
relatable.
So relatable, right?
Yeah, I look at pictures of me in high school and just honestly laugh because I thought I was fat in high school and I was so much smaller than I am now. I was also an athlete. Like things are different in high school.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how much as we get older, we realize that was so silly of us to think of our bodies that way and like truly believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. It is so true. Like I feel like we all have that moment where like you look back and you're like, I mean, the grass is always greener, but like truly it's like I was a child. I'm a woman now.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
that's the difference. So, yeah, I felt really inspired by that. Next, we kind of went into some experiences with her clients and like kind of the boudoir experience. So, we're going to get into that.
One of my clients, one of the sweetest people I've ever met in my life, just a gentle, gentle soul. Um, Really, I think, kind of defined herself her whole life by being the bigger person. Like she's very tall, um, she's proportional, and so I remember when I showed her her photos and she was looking through them, she wasn't saying anything. And so the first time we looked through, there's one of two reactions. It's either like, wow, wow, wow. And I feel like people are doing it for my benefit. I'm like, yeah, I know they're wow. I took them and you look great. But like, they're just trying to make me feel good about it. Or they don't say anything and they're stoic. So she like looks through and then we look through again. She doesn't say anything. And then I look and she's just completely crying. And I've never had anybody cry because they don't like what they see. And so when I give somebody their photos, I, I shoot in raw mode. I don't know if you know anything about photography, but basically there's like very little contrast, very little color. So I add back in the contrast. I make sure the exposure's right. Um, just I make it look like a finished picture, but I don't filter anything. If somebody has like a big gnarly cold sore, I'll fix that. That's not permanent. If there's a scar, I leave that where it is, unless they've specifically asked me to take it away. Um, I don't alter anybody's body. I don't make them look thinner. I don't make them look taller. I don't make their hair fuller. I don't. When they see their photos, the pictures are of them looking the very best that they can as themselves. So as they're looking through, as she's looking through, she's like, "Oh my goodness, I don't even recognize myself." And she wasn't wearing, normally clients, there are two packages that they can choose. One is with and one is without makeup. Some people like to do it themselves. She showed up, she wasn't wearing any makeup at all. She had mascara and maybe some lip gloss. That's how she lives her life. And so she hadn't had any makeup done. I didn't alter her in any way. There was no filter. The picture looked finished, and she's looking at herself, and she says, I don't look like that. I don't, I don't look like that." And I'm like, "That's exactly how you look. Like this is exactly how you look to everybody else." And she was like, "I've never seen myself in that way." And for some reason on that day, as we were leaving, I just got her to sit in a chair and I was like, "So you just had your boudoir photos taken. How do you feel?" And just her smile would light up a room. And she was like, "I have never seen myself as that person." And so I know her in my daily life. I see her, every couple of weeks. And so she has described the experience to me and other people. Um, and I really feel like that changed part of her. Like it changed how she feels about herself. And I feel good that I get to do that for people, but it is like an amazing feeling for me to get to know that I did it for somebody. And that's a little bit selfish. I mean, I give the gift freely. I'm happy to give the gift. But it's the most rewarding thing that I can think of to do.
I really loved that story because she's like she said in it, like she this is how you look to everyone else. And she was talking about how she doesn't alter anyone's body or like do anything that makes you look like airbrushed or different. She said in like throughout the interview, she was like, I'm really good at like the lighting and like getting good angles. But like she was like, that's you. And it was really life changing. So I was inspired. I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to get them done.
I've always wanted to get them done.
She also shared a few tips for if you wanted to get some boudoir photos.
So, hydrating is probably the most important thing that you can do. Um, just because your skin is better. And I don't know if it works or not, but I feel like everything in your face looks better when you drink water. I have not had enough water for the last 4 days, and like I can see it. You want to hydrate. You want to bring, for my sessions, I do 3 to 4 outfits. Whoever your photographer is will tell you how many outfits to bring. But you want to bring an assortment of things that you feel good in. So whether that's a t-shirt and like a cute pair of panties, whether that's a bra and underwear, whether that's a bodysuit. Bodysuits? Okay, I'm gonna interrupt myself. Bodysuits people are afraid of until they put them on. So they look very daunting because they're little and there's not much to them and they're very revealing. But when people put on a bodysuit, they turn into Catwoman. They're like, yeah, like, look at me.
So those were some really great tips for if you want to get some boudoir photos done. And obviously, every photographer is different, but loved the bodysuit tip and the hydration tip. I didn't even think about that, but I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it sounds like she really tries to make a safe space, which I think is the number one most important thing. If you're going to be photographed by someone basically naked, if not naked, then you're going to want to feel comfortable. And it sounds like she really prides herself on that. And like she said, she doesn't change anything with the photos, which I love, but she also gives women tips on how they're going to feel their best. And I think that's really nice too, because angles and lighting, that all does make you look better to if I see myself in a certain photo with one angle versus another one, typically I'm going to choose an angle that makes my face look more flattering, makes my body look more flattering to me and what I like. And so I think that's really nice that she gives those tips but then also doesn't change anything about someone's body.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, we have one more clip from Amy, her last words of wisdom for us in this interview.
And I have clients, it probably happens once a week. A client will say to me, I'm so glad that you're you. I wouldn't trust anybody else to do this. And a little bit is that I'm short, and a little bit is that I'm round, and a little bit is that I'm very, very like, I'm strange and I'm quirky and I like just, but I'm not afraid to be me while I'm with people. And, I tell embarrassing stories and it allows other people to relax and be really them. If I'm talking about like a colonoscopy, probably you don't talk about that in regular life, but I'm 43 and women got to do things that we don't want to do. And so, if I'm telling a funny story that came from like a mammogram appointment or a bra fitting appointment or, a past pregnancy story of, things that had happened or even just random things that happened during life, and it allows people to relate to me. It just makes developing those relationships better.
So I thought that was something that is just good for us to all keep in mind because when we all are just like real and honest about life experiences, it makes it more normalized. It makes everyone feel more comfortable because at the end of the day, we're all human. And so I just loved that about her. And she kind of went on to say that she wishes that more people were just open and honest like that so that it was more normalized. But yeah, so that was my conversation with Amy. It was amazing. And I want to thank Amy for coming on so that we could share with our listeners all of your advice and your tips.
Yeah, one last thought about the last clip that I had was that people do not care how you look. They care about how you treat them and how they make you feel. And I think that she really tries to bring that into her business and with her clients because, like, you don't make friends with people based on how they look, or normal people
Hmm.
don't. Like, that's
Yeah.
not a thing. Like, you don't seek people out for friendships and relationships typically with the focus of their appearance. Like, you want to surround yourself with people that make you feel good and that support you. And I think that she is really passionate about that. And so her being open and honest is also like connecting with people on things that they can relate on instead of just focusing on the looks, even though it's during a photo shoot. And that's typically what you focus on. But she wants it to be a safe, comfortable environment where the client feels comfortable with her in this vulnerable space.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that really it was really shining throughout, just like getting to know her for the time that we were sitting down and talking. And um yeah, I could just tell she's just like authentically herself and brings that into her work and yeah, into conversations with all the people that she meets. So thank you again, Amy. We are so happy that we could have you on. And with that, we will be back next week. Bye.
Bye.